Hey guys, this is Oshi and this is going to be our July pick a card because I decided to make one after all. And in this month, we were looking at a possible major event and some advice on that. So I don't expect this to be too long, but by the time I'm posting it, you will see the timestamps and the length of the video. So no extra cards pulling for the question this month. Later, I'm gonna go back to that. I really enjoy doing that, but for the month I like working with one bigger theme or a bigger energy because for me that seems more reasonable from the giving advice perspective. So you have 3 pies and I have 3 rings that you can choose from. The first one, pie number 1, is this rocky silvery ring. Pile number 2 has a mushroom ring. And pile number 3 has a simple silver ring with some crystals. So these are the 3 piles. Please choose according to which feels calling to you, which you're drawn to. You don't have to choose based on the rings. You can choose based on the decks or the piles you see. So, just go with your gut feeling and see you in your pile. Hello, pile number 1. If you chose this silver ring, then this is your reading. So I have 2 sections that I want to look at. The first one is the major event and then some advice. So your major event is, we have the cave, the dark, the portal, the interior, the sacred center within inner truth. So definitely a chance to go inward, to learn something about yourself. We also have the Ace of Thread, fiber, wandering, warmth, gentleness. Oh, I love that. With a lot of dandelions, wishes coming true. But maybe being more mindful about what you wish for. We also have the Six of Pentacles. And it's kind of interesting that they are blowing those bubbles around the pentacles, kind of like the blowing your wishes into the wind or into existence. We have the Fool and the Five of Pentacles. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna, do you see if I put it over here? Probably not. I need to figure out the layout better, but you're pile number 1, so it's time to do that when I start. So like I said, we have this cave as a focus point, and we got that in the upright position. So this is more about choosing to go inwards, choosing to find that inner place within yourself where secrets are buried. But if you enter this cave, so to speak, this imaginary cave, usually this is your shadow self, or this can be shadow self. It can be a part of you that you're afraid because it's dark, you don't know what's in there, and you're choosing to ignore it on purpose, subconsciously, which might seem like that it doesn't make sense, because how could you choose that when you're not conscious about that decision? But sometimes we do that in order to protect ourselves from what's inside, because we're just, afraid that there's something that we can't face, or we will be hurt if we face it. But this month something will trigger you, and it could be, because we have the Six of Pentacles, it could be a memory, a childhood memory especially, or just a memory of a life has been, or you start wondering that how could have your life actually went down if you chose something along the lines, or along the path you took already, and you start to feel a bit not necessarily nostalgic, it could be, but more of the start to doubt your decisions. And usually you might be someone who just, shrugs these things off and sweep them under the rug, but this month you will have the opportunity to actually take a chance to more closely examine why you did what you did in the past, why you made those decisions that you might regret, but you don't dare to face the regret that's coming with them. Because we also have the Five of Pentacles, which is on a surface level, it's, financial loss, but I read this card more as isolation, because when you lose your material security, you feel left out. You feel like other people don't want to talk to you. You feel like they don't care because you don't see value. You might, you might feel like you don't have value that you can offer to them. And that could be something that you're afraid that, if you face this side of yourself and you start working with it or working on it, you might lose people, or you might have to admit that you made some decisions that you regret now. And that's not necessarily an easy thing, especially if those decisions were life-changing events. But you're called to be gentle to yourself, to remind yourself that your life is a thread, in a simplest way to say it, and how you spin it, what you make out of it. It's if it's a sweater, if it's a beanie, if it's a whatever, it's, you're doing your best and it's your decision. And even if you started working on a sweater already and you think that you can't change now because then you lose the progress you already made, which is true, but you continue down the road and you make that sweater just because you thought that that was the way to go, you're still gonna regret ending with a sweater, and you're still gonna wish you went with the beanie instead. And after a while you will pull that sweater apart and start making a beanie, because we're human beings. I do think that we can't resist our true calling or true purpose for forever. We can resist it for a long time and make a lot of decisions that doesn't align with who we are and why we and how we want to live life and why we want to live our life the way we want to. But after a while, you start to feel the pressure building inside that change is needed. So this month you will have a chance to examine something in your life that might not align with yourself and how you want to live your life, which is going to be something that the reason for that you don't know, you just feel that there is something hiding somewhere inside of you that is pushing for a change, and usually you don't want to do that because it threatens the status quo, But don't look at this as something that's threatening. Look at it as an opportunity to get a better understanding of who you are and how you can handle making these decisions in the future, so you don't have to live a life where you think back and have regrets about the past and how you made decisions, and just, live in a state where you think about the good old days as the only good thing that you ever had, and you don't have much of an optimistic feel about the future because you don't think that anything can be better than how it was in the past. Okay, that's not an easy energy to be in. I'm not saying that, but it can be very rewarding in a sense that you can feel more purposeful about your life if you go down the road, to actually look at these things. So let's see how you can actually do that. Oh, okay, amazing. I have Judgment for you. and strength. And yeah, judgment is judging yourself, but in a gentle way. Don't judge your past mistakes. Oh, we have a color on, going off like this is important. Okay, so stop. So, don't judge your past mistakes in a harsh way. You did what you could do, and you work with the best possible information that you had at the time. But you have to accept all the mistakes you made, and just think about that the mistakes you made and the decisions you made, the good and the bad, all together, not just the mistakes, but we're talking about more about them because of the first part of the reading, because those were the ones that led you to this point where you are who you are because of them. You need to remember that, because once you're able to accept you for truly for who you are, and accept that you're a flawed human being who tries its best, then you can move forward and make a better life for yourself, like what I said. And I like that we have the strength, because this is a reminder that you don't always go at things with brute force. Sometimes you need to use gentleness and kindness to make to have an effect on something. And this something is about yourself. Just look at how she is holding the lion's head. She's firm. I don't she's not just, you could say that she's petting the lion, but I don't think so. It's more about reassuring the lion that, hey, I am here not to hurt you. I don't want to tame you. I just want to show you that I'm a human being who cares about lions. So in a way, being that consistent presence in your own life, to show that, to show your previous self, your current self, that you're capable of these changes that you're called to make. We also have patience, which is I didn't say that, but it's a good reminder that a change like this, or work like this, when you work with shadow aspects or hard decisions, or something that you have a hard time looking at, requires patience, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's not like you're gonna watch this reading, sit down, start thinking about things, and then be like, oh, okay, oh, that was a mistake, well, I'm done with the work now, it's over. No, it's probably going to take some attempt to even look at the thing we're talking about. But you need to remember that small progress is still progress. And we also have the 7th house, the relationship card. And I love how the colors are coordinating. And with this one, it's a good reminder that if you have people in your life that you trust, that can be there for you, lean on them. You don't have to do this work alone. If you can and have access to a great therapist, for example, that can be something that I would advise, obviously. But it can be someone in your family, or if you have a romantic partner, or a close friendship, or a trusted guide, or someone like that, where you can be absolutely honest and comfortable talking about something difficult, and you know that already. So this is not going to be the test of that relationship. This card is, in this context, is all about someone who has proven to you previously that you can trust that they're gonna be there for you. If you have that person, don't ignore the chance to talk things over, or ask for advice, or ask for understanding and help to see yourself in a different way, because other people in our lives who know us might have a different opinion about the decisions that you're questioning. and they can help to see you. They might just be the one thing that will help you shift your perspective on the decision and how it was a regret or not, or how it served you in the long run, or how it helped you to become the person you are today, even though you conclude that it was a mistake. So that can be something that you can, use other people's help. Don't ignore that. Okay, this is your reading if you chose pile number 1. It's not an easy energy to be in, like I said, but it's gonna be a very, very useful for you if you go down the road, if you take the chance. But with the Fool card, it's entirely up to you if you take the leap of faith and, decide to try things differently now. Because if you just shrug your, your shoulder and be like, but this is how it is, then obviously nothing is going to change. So the decision, as usual, is yours. I'm just here to give you advice and maybe, some options how to tackle something. But I wish you the best. Thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, please like, comment down below, subscribe. That all helps my channel. Hit that bell icon because I go live whenever I can and do live readings where you can ask a personal question and get a more accurate reading, because this is obviously a general one. So yeah, and if you want to, help out the channel, please check the description. See you in the next one. Bye. Hello, pile number 2. If you chose this mushroom ring, then this is going to be your reading. So we have 2 sections for the reading. The first one is the main energy with some cards, and then we have the advice. So your main energy is, okay, the mentor. I love this card, it's so beautiful. This is the teacher, the stage, the guru. Focused, clear, bright, remains a student. So it can be about you finding a mentor. We're gonna see the other cards, or you're finding a spiritual teacher or just a teacher in general, but I would more so say about spirituality. Or realizing that even if you're on the road of spirituality for long and you are the teacher for other people, this month is calling you to be the student again. Let's see. I love that. We have the healer, compassion, recovery, and consent. And the healer is also the same archetype as the teacher. Okay, so let's see. We have the Two of Cups. So right out of the bat, because of these 2 cards, I would say that there's going to be 2 different kind of interpretation for this pile. One of them is being the teacher and one of them is being the student. And maybe, the third one with being for the need of being both. So the Two of Cups, the importance of having a relationship with your teacher or your students where it's equal, because even if you're the teacher, you can always learn something from other people. So if you reached that stage in your life when you're more advanced in some area, and I'm going to talk about spirituality in this context, but it can be anything, honestly. But if you're doing tarot or healing work for a while now, and you know that you're at a higher level than those around you, along comes someone this month that can be a teacher for you, and they might come as a student, they might come to you for help. And obviously you will help them, but by helping them you will also learn something about yourself, or learn something that you might have missed in the past, how many years we're talking about. Because we have the Nine of Swords. It goes to focus that the Nine of Swords is all about nightmares and all about being afraid of something that's not there, pretty much. it's that feeling when you're, lying sleeplessly on your bed in the middle of the night and you start thinking all the horrible possible ways that something can go down. And in this context with the other cards, it could be that person who comes into your life makes you question your own abilities, and they make you question the progress you made and your identity as a teacher. I'll talk about the other side just in a minute. But you have to remind yourself that just because if you realize that you can learn in some aspect of your craft or of your area of healing or spirituality, that doesn't mean that you're not a teacher. It just means that you're someone who is able to evolve, which is a very good quality for a teacher. Because we have the Empress as well, so you're going to go through this temporary setback, but realize along the road that you are actually where you are supposed to be, and you are actually who you are supposed to be, and you're a nurturer, a caring person, a healer. I definitely am getting a lot of water and emotions with these cards. So you could be a psychiatrist as well, psychiatrist. Why does that word doesn't sound right now? Because I'm probably saying it wrong. Sometimes that happens. But you can be a psychologist. I wanted to say psychologist, not psychiatrist. So psychologist, for example, who works with emotions. And you feel like, oh, okay, I might not be as good as I am because I'm not able to help this person as easily as I thought I would be. But then you realize that, okay, but I have resources that I can lean on, and I can do my best and be honest about how I am or where I am with the ability to help the other person, and then go from there. And that's useful. And if you're the person who needs someone, who needs a mentor, who you're looking for someone who will help you evolve, who will help you heal, you're looking for a spiritual guide, you're looking for a spiritual teacher, the reminder of for you is that you need to find someone who will treat you as an equal, who won't talk down to you. Because if someone does that, then they are not where they're supposed to be or where they claim to be. Because I do think that the more you know, the more you realize that you know nothing. And whoever you're choosing as a mentor for yourself, or whoever you're trusting as a mentor or teacher, it can't be anyone who will make you feel worried that whatever they are teaching you or telling you is something that will just keep you up at night, but not in a good way, not because you're starting to working with something or some energy, but it's because you're afraid to talk to them, you're afraid to be honest, you're afraid to act a certain way because you think that it's not going to be good enough for them. And that's not how you approach a spiritual relationship or any relationship, to be honest, because you need to be obviously respectful about this other person because you value their advice, you value their position in life, but don't give up your own sense of self, your own self-worth just to be able to say that, oh, I learned from such a great master and now I'm this tiny fickle of imagination or speck of dust because I realized that I'm nothing in comparison to this other person. That's not the direction you want to go with finding a spiritual helper or someone who heals. And it can be in a very basic level, can be about who you watch on YouTube for pick a card readings. For example, if you don't like what I say or how I say it, don't watch me. I'm not gonna say that I definitely have an answer for you. I do my best to give you what I have, but if it's not something that you need, then, by any chance and means, go ahead and look for someone else, because my goal here is not to make you feel like you're gaining something from a reading, but leave you feel empty. My goal is to give you something that you can work with. And if I achieve that, then it's great. If I don't, I will never say you shouldn't, seek out other people, because that's not how I am. And you should be like that too. Don't disregard the advice. Don't disregard someone's experience, because if someone is fitting this archetype, the mentor, the teacher, they did a lot of work to be there, and they can teach you a lot. But there's, you don't necessarily learn everything from just one person, and you need to know that. Okay, so let's see how to approach this person when it comes along, or the chance to work with them. Okay, I love that. We have the Queen of Wands with the cat in the lap. I love that. And the Queen of Wands is a very confident person, so approach this person no matter which side you are on the equation, even if you're a teacher, even if you're a student. Approach this other person with confidence, confident in your own abilities, confident in your own self. But we have the Four of Pentacles as well, and I usually read this as being mindful about your resources. So like I said previously, don't just start devaluing yourself because the other person seems more capable or more wise or more whatever. And don't give out information about yourself easily either. Have some self-reservation approaching students or people who turn to you for help, or a teacher your turn to have to, because that's just common sense. Don't trust too easily, I would say. And we have Mars with motion. So when the opportunity presents itself, you meet someone that fits in this category that we talked about, don't hesitate to actually ask questions, to go ahead and contact them, leave a comment on a video or message them, obviously respectfully, and check how they want to be approached. That's always a good idea. Some people doesn't like to get private messages. They might ignore it because they don't like to do that. Some people appreciate if you leave comments because that's publicly visible, so other people can see what they said and what they reply to you. Some like getting in touch via emails, just look around to see their preferred way of getting in touch if you're the one looking for a spiritual teacher. But obviously, if you're the one in the spiritual teacher position, I would say don't do any of those, because we know how many scammers are out there who are doing that exactly. So your position is to be in motion, but in a way that it's visible for others, like posting some content, for example, but not in the direct, hey, come, I'm gonna give you a reading type of way, because that doesn't have a good energy these days, because unfortunately people are there to do what they do and hopefully learn some consequences of their actions. We also have the Companion, and I would say that ties back to the Two of Cups. You're looking for a long-term companion on the road you're taking, and I don't necessarily see this as a romantic relationship, because we're talking about a teacher-student, whatever it's called. okay, I'm blanking on the word. Dynamic, that was the one that I was looking for. I think this is more about a reminder that don't look at your students or your teachers as a possible romantic relationship. I'm not saying that never happens. I'm just saying that the dynamic between a teacher and the student is not equal immediately, obviously. And it's never going to be equal in the sense that the teacher has to always be mindful about their influence of the other person. So it can turn into a romantic relationship, but that has to be on equal grounds when you're out of that initial phase of being a student or having a student. So that's just a friendly reminder, because that can turn into something you don't want quickly on either side, honestly. But yeah, don't be afraid to approach someone that you think you can learn from, and don't be afraid to put out content that you have, knowledge you have, and share it with other people confidently, because other people can learn from you if you're in that, teacher position. And it doesn't have to be on social media or online. It can be something that you do locally, because we live, different lives. So just take what resonates, honestly. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. Like, subscribe, comment down below. That helps my channel, and you want to help my channel because you're a kind person. Look into the description for ways to directly support the channel. Hit the bell icon so you know when I go live. I try to go live more often, have talks with other people about spiritual topics, and do live readings as well. Not always, at the same time. So obviously, just check what I'm doing. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. Have a lovely month, and see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, pile number 3. If you chose this simple silver ring, then this is going to be your reading. So, 2 parts for the reading. The first one, we look at the possible major event, and then we look at some advice on how to deal with it. So your main card is the Heart, which is the hope, the center, the throne, expanse, knowing, and gentle clarity. Okay, I love that pink. We also have the end. Okay, something is ending. And it's very interesting because we also have 2 people in a boat. And that, with the ending reminded me of the 6 of Swords, which is leaving something behind, something that's hard to leave behind. But, it's a reminder it's a call to remind you that this month there might be something that ends. There's an end coming. It's transformational. It's a big thing, so it's definitely not something small. But you will get a chance to start something new, because, when you then you allow something to end finally, you can start working on something new. You can start and letting something new come into your life if you allowed something else to go out first. That's where the expansive feeling comes in, that you can expand your sense of self, or something that you love. You can expand that area or that energy, but only if you let something to go out, because you need space to expand too. And this end, it's not going to be an abrupt tower kind of ending. It's going to be the gentle clarity kind of way. It's going to be realizing that it's time to let something, for the lack of better word, die. Not in a very over dramatic, sense of feeling. We also have the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles is not just about family, it's more about the legacy, leaving a legacy, realizing what you want to leave behind, and and how you want to be remembered of. So there might be something that you finally let go of because you realize that you don't want people to remember you by that thing or that habit or that way of acting. It can be something, how you treat other people, for example, and you realize that you want to treat them differently because you want possibly better, obviously, but maybe better in a way that is good for them better, because you might be doing everything you can right now, but other people doesn't seem to understand that you do that for them, because it's not a way that they understand love or understand care. You know, it can be about aligning love languages. You know, showing someone that you care about them and that you are there for them in a long run in a way that they can actually understand. Not how you think they would understand, because there's a difference between those two. We also have the devil and we have strength. So this will, I don't think I need to really explain that whatever you have to let go and let it end will require strength. It will require to be gentle with the changes, gentle with this other thing that you're letting die. And I'm using the die word because I want to highlight the what's the word? I want to highlight the finality of it. Because, if I start talking about letting it go and this transformation and all that, which will come obviously with something leaving and something coming in, there's transformation, but I want to emphasize the word final, dying, because it's final, and you need to make peace with that finality, because that's the only way that you can actually expand and actually have something better, and that might require a lot of inner strength. With the devil, it's just a reminder that, how I read the devil is the prince of illusion. It's a test. You're going to be tested to see if you're actually making progress, if you're actually letting this thing go, because you might think that you finally cut the cord and you let it slip away. In a way, you let it go, but then turns out that one of the threads are still intact and you didn't cut all of them because you're afraid, of letting this one go, because it's part of who you are, and probably for a long while. So, you will be tested, and then you can see that, okay, I'm still not there, I still didn't actually let this thing go. Which is, it's not an easy thing to go through, but it's good because you can actually see your progress. Because with the tests and getting tested, you can see your progress, which is, it's useful, you can work with that. But let's see actually how to go about things. It's a very interesting monthly reading, to be honest. All three piles have very heavy energies, which I was not expecting, to be honest. So how to go about this letting go? We have the Page of Swords, the Page of Cups, and the King of Swords. That's why it wasn't a Freudian slip, it was just my mind going too fast to the next card. Oh, and we have the 8th house and mystery, the unknowing, spiritual learning, spirituality, and big questions about life and death lives in the 8th house. It's a very, very interesting card, which I absolutely love. And we also have passion. So how I would say is that how you can actually approach this and approach this energy or whatever we're talking about that you need to let go is becoming open to new possibilities, reminding yourself that just by reaching the end of the road in this area, it doesn't mean that a new road is not waiting for you somewhere else. It just means that you need to maybe walk back to a crossroad and choose a different path and make mistakes, you know, when you start this New Jersey, no, start this new journey. So you have to remind yourself that you're not too old, you're not too invested, you're not too anything to start anew, to start something, maybe with someone. It could be, because we have passion as well, it could be that this is a relationship, and if you're able to go back to the starting point, so to speak, but with the knowledge you already have, you can start a better road, you can start a better relationship, you can start a better whatever we're talking about, because you already have that knowledge that you can build on. And I'm saying that because we have the King of Swords, and this king is all about long-term strategy, long-term goal setting, long-term getting those plans out the door and seeing where I need to go and making moves. Sometimes, you know, sacrificing a pawn, because the king can see how the whole game is played and which sacrifices they need to make in order to move where they want to be. Not gender specific, it's more about a more active masculine type of energy. I don't mind using those, you know, masculine and feminine, because those are not necessarily, or, you know, not at all connected to gender, to be honest, and they don't have to be. And hopefully we're gonna move past that connection, because if I say feminine, a lot of people immediately know what I mean. It's the more gentle, it's the more receiving type of energy to be in. And if I say masculine, it's more about make actions, take those steps, make those plans, but start acting on them kind of energy. And it doesn't matter, you know, which gender, if you even have one, you are belonging to. It's just being a human and being in the side of the energy. And, you know, not necessarily knowing where you go is not necessarily a bad thing, because you can still make certain steps. But yeah, the 8th house, I think, I'm not that knowledgeable about astrology, so I'm not going to say that for sure, but if I remember correctly, it's about that spiritual, you know, what am I here, why am I here, sense of finding that space in your heart that belongs to you and expanding on that. And finding passion for yourself and for life as well. If it's not about a relationship, it can be, but doesn't have to be. So yeah, there is something that you swiftly need to let it end, but just remind yourself and remember that something better is coming, because you're expanding on something that you love, that is coming from within yourself, and that's always better than expanding on other, you know, things that are not aligning with you. Okay, this was your reading if you chose pile number 3. I hope this was useful. Like I said, all 3 piles were quite interesting. So if you feel, I didn't say that for other people, other piles, but if you feel drawn to other piles, do check them. There's no overlap, so there might be a message in there in the other piles as well. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Those all help my channel. And hit that bell icon to see when I go live, and even catch me doing live readings if you want something more specific. Check the description for ways to support my channel if you think I deserve it, obviously. And have a lovely day. See you in the next one. Bye.